Imagine standing in a desert, right? You're just watching this massive, incredibly expensive mega city being built.
Yeah, like cranes everywhere, just billions pouring into the foundation.
Exactly. But then you look right next door and someone is building a nearly identical city, but they're using recycled parts and doing it for a fraction of the cost. So welcome to today's deep dive into our source material, The Game of AI, A View from the West. We're looking at a system in, well, total flux today.
Totally. And, we should say up front, there are no neat conclusions here.
Yeah.
Just an open exploration of these massive unresolved paradoxes you really need to know about.
Right. So let's get into the scale of this divergence because it is just wild. By 2026, Western tech giants, so the hyperscalers running those massive cloud networks, they are projected to spend over $400 billion.
Which is, frankly, staggering. And they're spending that just hoarding and running raw GPU chips. It's pure brute force hardware.
Yeah, just throwing money at the problem. But meanwhile, the East, and specifically China, is projected to spend roughly $40 billion, which is like a tenth of the cost.
Right, because they have to. Facing chip export bans, they literally can't just buy the biggest hardware. So they're forced to, rewrite the math itself.
Oh, wow. So it's born out of necessity.
Exactly. They use intense architectural efficiency to create models like DeepSeek. And those require drastically fewer calculations to get the exact same result.
Okay, let's unpack this collision. Because the West is essentially building this hyper-expensive premium toll road.
Right, they had to service like $500 billion of infrastructure debt.
Yes. So they treat intelligence as this scarce premium commodity. They're betting we will all pay massive fees to use this omnipotent superintelligence. But that cheap Eastern public transit system being built next door.
Yeah, it doesn't just steal customers. It turns intelligence into a free utility.
Exactly.
I mean, they are focusing entirely on cheap, rapid commercialization. Things like supply chain logistics, robotics.
So if an Eastern model delivers 95% of the capability for like 1% of the cost, who is going to pay the Western toll?
Nobody. And that's what the source calls the Western ROI trap. I mean, you can't charge a premium for water when it's raining everywhere. The floor just falls out from under the Western strategy.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. It's the classic Wile E. Coyote scenario.
Oh, yeah, running off the cliff.
Right. Their legs are still spinning in midair. But the moment one of these hyperscalers looks down, realizes intelligence is now a free utility, and actually cuts their spending, well, gravity hits.
And gravity hits everything. The source calls this the tech subprime contagion.
Tech subprime. That sounds terrifying.
It is. A spending pause bleeds the silicon monopolies almost immediately. Those massive half-built data centers, they become ghost towns.
But the real danger is beyond just tech, right? The index trap.
Yes, the index trap. Because a handful of these massive tech companies make up a completely disproportionate percentage of major stock indices.
So a structural flaw in their valuation automatically tanks algorithmic passive funds, which means the 401k you were relying on for retirement is suddenly incredibly vulnerable.
Vulnerable to an AI model built halfway across the world. I mean, venture capital freezes overnight.
Which triggers what the source calls the cognitive margin call. I love this framing. Think about human brain processing like slow, expensive, artisanal labor.
Right, for 50 years, the entire middle and upper middle class relied on a monopoly of that processing power, synthesizing data, writing code, all of it.
Yeah, and now we are competing against an AI mass assembly line that is driving the cost of that friction towards zero.
And the wild part is, the executives driving this transition, they view themselves as architects building a new world. They see themselves as the primary players in this game.
Wait, but are we giving these executives way too much credit here?
Maybe.
Well, you're framing this like they are master architects making a calculated bet. What if they aren't actually playing the game at all?
Oh, the illusion of the player.
Yes. What if hypercapitalism is just using these humans as a biological mechanism to convert carbon into silicon compute?
That completely flips the perspective. It suggests the system is just optimizing itself, right? It's relentlessly moving from carbon-based processing to cheaper, faster, silicon-based processing.
Regardless of who actually thinks they are in charge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this leads us to the ultimate paradox in the source material.
Which is?
The crash of this massive Western infrastructure bubble could actually birth a world of post-scarcity intelligence.
Right. We'd have functionally free tools to solve immense logistical and medical bottlenecks. Which sounds amazing.
It does, but the problem is human economies only know how to function on scarcity. We literally do not have an operating system for abundance.
We are standing between a dying paradigm and an unborn one. So as you picture those two desert megacities, one built on massive debt and the other on brutal efficiency, think about this. If human economic value was simply a temporary monopoly on processing power, how will society fundamentally value a human being when the rules of that game permanently change? Something to chew on.